I cannot believe that my family farm and my home state of Nebraska are going to be flat broke within 6 months.
Hey, Nebraska, I hear that you get to be Trump's next bankruptcy. Good for you. Way to go.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters.
I do not care about Nebraska going bankrupt in 6 months. I do not care. I do not care. Maybe a few other of those red states should go bankrupt in 6 months.
The state of Nebraska around and found out as they are ready to go bankrupt in the next 6 months. Their state.
So for all the farmers that live in Nebraska, you voted for Trump knowing that 70% of your workforce on your farms are migrants.
Hi family, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you're at. To all my returning subscribers, you guys, thank you so very much for the love and support. And if you are seeing me for the very first time, I hope you do consider subscribing on the channel. Tap on that bell so that every time I upload anything on here, you're always notified. So it comes out that probably these farmers didn't see this coming, but however, some of them even went ahead and said, yes, this is what we voted for. We only expected for the undocumented people to be deported, but we didn't see this coming to us. But I'm like, everything was there in Project 2025. Why are these people coming out and actually crying right now? But anywho, this is exactly what they voted for. So let us continue watching these few clips as we get to know how they're actually tearing out and actually seeking for help. So
I cannot believe that my family farm and my home state of Nebraska are going to be flat broke within 6 months. I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe that the undocumented workers who basically drive our entire agricultural economy just got up and left. They just left. Why? Because we voted for Trump? Because we voted to have them torn from their homes in the middle of the night by ICE, because we wanted to see their families ripped apart because we don't like brown people, so they just abandoned us in our hour of need before we were able to like replace them with, I don't know, like white teenagers or something like that, you know, like before we were able to identify and employ an entire demographic of people who's willing to make less than minimum wage for terrible working conditions. I can't believe this is happening. If only somebody had told us that this was a possibility. If only somebody like Kamala Harris or Tim Walz or Bernie Sanders or any of the liberal politicians, Jasmine Crockett, Gavin Newsom from California, or, you know, almost every major media outlet, or every economist in the nation, or all of the liberals. If only somebody had told us that undocumented workers are absolutely vital to the existence of our agricultural industry. If only somebody had said that 1,000 times, day after fucking day. If only somebody had said, hey, they're not replaceable because white American teenagers do not want to work for slave labor wages in the fields in the hot sun. They are not going to be replaceable. If only someone had said that repeatedly through a megaphone for literally a year. If only somebody had said that using your vote as a stick with which to beat undocumented minorities might be a bad idea. Because we've come to rely on them, haven't we? Yeah. If only someone had said that. Maybe someone would give a shit, you know? Good luck, though.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state. They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on. moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are gonna go bankrupt now. We are gonna go bankrupt. And yeah, we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported and he was coming after immigrants, yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise. I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that we voted for something that is now putting us directly out of business.
Guess what? I do not care about Nebraska going bankrupt in 6 months. I do not care. I do not care. Maybe a few other of those red states should go bankrupt in 6 months so the blue states can swoop in to save them, so they can understand that we are not the bad ones. We are not the poor ones. We are not the ones who cannot survive under the orange turds' crazy policies. But you know why I don't feel bad for Nebraska? You know why? Because I believe I heard 65% of their workforce is undocumented people, which means they're not coming to work anymore, which means work's not happening, which means all the farmers in Nebraska are going to go bankrupt because they all went out there and voted against their neighbors. 65% of neighbors who are immigrants, okay? Fuck around and find out at this point. You know what I mean? And of course, I do feel bad for those blue people in Nebraska who did not vote for this. So unfortunate. That's what you get for being racist and not wanting immigrants in this country, even though they're paying taxes and contributing. So,
Hey, Nebraska, I hear that you get to be Trump's next bankruptcy. Good for you. Way to go. See, your racism and your transphobia and your hatred of women was just bigger than your sense of self-preservation. Yes, it was. And now you're going to lose your granddaddy's farm. See, just like during the pandemic, when there were all of these subsidies and bailouts for farmers, but they went to the mega corporate farms instead of folks like you, you didn't learn your lesson. So now all those tax breaks and handouts and subsidies are going to go to the folks that are waiting in the wings to swoop up your little piece of legacy so they can turn it into just another plot of land on a spreadsheet. So as you're packing up your Mima's mementos, emptying out that room where you raised your babies, loading up that dinner table where hundreds of family gatherings made magic, it's going to be hard. But just know that we're so happy for you, that you got what you voted for. We absolutely love this for you. Peace out. Something, something bootstraps.
So for all the farmers that live in Nebraska, you voted for Trump knowing that 70% of your workforce on your farms are migrants. Now, apparently, Nebraska is 6 months away from bankruptcy. Still voted for the mass deportation of 70% of your workforce on your farms, and now are complaining that your farms and your livelihood will not survive it.
The state of Nebraska has fucked around and found out as they are ready to go bankrupt in the next 6 months. Their state's economy relies heavily on agriculture, and over 70% of their workforce is from undocumented immigrants. Knowing this, they voted for Trump, hoping that he would get rid of the undocumented immigrants. And now they are severely understaffed across the entire state, unable to find enough workers to replace the undocumented immigrants who supplied their state with enough workforce. This is the find out stage of fuck around and find out. In the next 6 months, the state of Nebraska will be entirely bankrupt, unable to support itself, and be looking for a bailout from the federal government. All because they let their racism and hate towards immigrants be more important than their economic livelihoods. There's nothing to feel bad about here. They voted for this. They knew exactly what they were voting for. Now they have what they wanted. Let's see how it turns out for them.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt.
On our stop today on the highway to hell, we have Nebraska about to go bankrupt within 2 quarters. On the highway to hell. But it was always the immigrants, right? All right, y'all go ahead with that one.